Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, second hour, kick it off right now on this Tuesday morning of May 26th. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Tuesday morning. We're going to talk a little bit of Giannis, rumors, updates, what's the latest surrounding whether he will stay, whether he will go. We'll get you informed on that. We'll get back to some more Brewers. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk coming up here in just a little bit. We'll catch up with RJ Cardinal coming up next hour. I want to talk more about the potential of maybe the college football playoff expanding even more. We're talking like 24 teams. Seems like the Big Ten is pushing for that. So we'll hit up RJ with that. Also, it is a sports confession Tuesday. So what's your confessions? All right, make it appropriate. Send it on over. Also, your I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. And it is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. So, what's grinding your gears? All right, get it off your chest. Again, make it appropriate. Send it on over, and we'll read it for the rest of the class. I could say. I think I could speak for Mr. Brandon Berg, since Surveyor's chiming in right now. Brandon Berg's Grind My Gears would be directed at you, Surveyor, because Brandon, on Friday, said, what's the deal with Surveyor? Is he just quitting on asking us trivia questions now and such? So, I mean, I'm just relaying it to you, Surveyor. Just throwing it out there. Surveyor says, good morning, DK. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. First, I totally agree. Socks and sandals bugs the crap out of me. Let the dogs breathe, people. Legit. I need to know a legit reason why people wear socks and sandals. Ball games, like if you got the spikes on and you're taking them off, slides, that's fine. Perfectly acceptable. Just a quick in and out. If you're at a ball game, you got a tournament, in between games, I can dig that. Anything else, what are we doing? What is the point? What is the point? It makes no sense. Heck, even golf, I don't care. All right, you get done golfing and you want to stick back for a couple at the clubhouse. You put on some slides. Cool. Anything that's not like sports, I don't get it. Baseball, like baseball, you're running around the clubhouse. Fine. I don't get it. We've got seconds, an event or two I'd like to go to that I'm a casual for. Wimbledon. The UEFA Cup, and a cricket game between Pakistan and India. Look at you going really deep into that. Thinking outside the box a little bit. I like that. Yeah, I think I'd like to do Wimbledon too. I'm not a tennis fan or a big tennis fan. I'll watch it once in a while. I know a little bit, the rules, love 30 and, all that stuff, but that's the one thing, too, I wish I could figure out how to actually hit a tennis ball like the pros do. How they get that spin on it. Because when I do it, it's going over the cage, over the fence in the tennis court, and probably smoking somebody. How they do that is just, oh, man. That's a good one. Wimbledon for me, along with, I put a soccer, World Cup soccer match on there. I want to experience the environment. I'd throw the Indy in there. Maybe even throw a Daytona. Yeah, I'd be good about that. That's a good one. I like that. I like that Wimbledon one for sure. So, what else for the rest of you? Okay, send it on over. 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. What else do we got going on here this morning? Well, not really a lot of football talk here either, so I'm not going to force it. Oh, I thought we had a Freddie Peralta trade rumor, but it's just an article. Never mind. So, speaking of trades, let's go to Giannis, and let's go to to a little hoops talk here. So, the latest, according to Mark Stein, says the Heat and the Celtics are believed to be atop of Giannis's current list of desired trade destinations. While Miami has long coveted Giannis and will likely have some talks with Milwaukee about a possible deal, and I know there's been a rumor package out there kind of circulating around social media and that. Stein says it's not certain how Boston feels about a potential franchise-altering trade that would likely have to involve Jaylen Brown and at least 3 teams. Stein continues to hear that Giannis prefers a trade to an Eastern Conference team capable of competing for a championship rather than a move to the West. Which brings the question up now. If the Bucks do decide to trade Giannis, do they grant his wishes and trade him to an Eastern Conference contending team, the same Eastern Conference that the Bucks are in? Or do they say, that's cute, and avoid the Eastern Conference and trade him to the West? Or the third option is whoever has the best deal. Doesn't matter to the conference. So here's a couple scenarios here at play. Why would the Bucks, for anybody maybe kind of wondering, why would the Bucks trade Giannis to a team that he wants to go to? For one, the team that's acquiring Giannis probably wants to re-sign him, wants to sign him to a max extension. And if Giannis is not willing to sign a max extension with that team, then the team probably isn't going to offer as much for Giannis or maybe even have an offer at all. Unless the Bucks can find a team like the Spurs found with the Raptors when they traded Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard goes there for a year, wins a ship, doesn't re-sign. Do you think the Raptors are regretting it, though? I would say probably not. Is there a team that is willing to come up with a package for Giannis without, saying, hey, we got to make sure that we're gonna sign him to an extension? Going to kind of put all their chips in for 1 year. It's a huge risk, no question about it. But ultimately, that team acquiring Giannis more than not is going to want to sign to an extension. So if Giannis, let's say just throwing a Western Conference team out there. Let's say like the Mavericks. I don't know. I'm just saying the Mavericks. Say the Mavericks throw out a deal, a big deal, proposal to the Bucks for Giannis, and the Bucks want to trade him to Dallas because that is the best deal in place. But Giannis has said, yeah, I'm not going to sign an extension there, though. That's the potential issue. And then if the Mavericks hear that, they're like, okay, we're going to pull the trade then. Or, all right, we're still interested, but we're not going to give you nearly as much. That's the balancing act. So that's kind of that's a big reason why, in case anybody's wondering, like, well, why would the Bucks want to try to trade Giannis to a team that he wants to go to? Why does he have any say in this? He has a say in whether he's going to sign an extension or not. Now, if he was under contract for a couple years or a few years, then that's probably not that big of a deal. And then you can just be like, all right, Giannis, thanks for your input, but I'm going to do what's best for the team, to quote Draft Day. And I get it. I'm kind of this way, too. I don't want to see Giannis go to the Eastern Conference. If I had my preference, I don't want him to get traded to an Eastern Conference opponent if he does get traded. But I'm also at the same time where I want the best deal. If you're going to trade Giannis, if you're going to trade arguably the best player in franchise history, that brought back a championship a few years ago. Go out there and get the best deal possible, regardless of what conference it's in. This isn't like the NFL or Major League Baseball, where you're going to necessarily be trading him to a division rival. The NBA's got divisions, but there's not like major, at least the Bucks don't have a major rival. Right? I mean, we don't have that. Some teams have their rivals, and some teams may not do any deals with each other in that. Bucks aren't really in that position. It's not like the Packers and the Bears or the Packers and the Vikings, potentially working on a big trade, or Brewers and Cubs and Brewers or Cardinals. You know what I mean? Even baseball, when you get to like the trading deadline, if one team is just poo-poo, and I feel like that's a little bit more open for business possibly, but I don't think that matters a whole lot in the NBA. So on my fan side, would I like to see Giannis get traded to an Eastern Conference team? No. But I also want the absolute best deal possible. There was one crazy, I think I saw somebody, let me see if I can find it really quick. I didn't save it because it was just somebody throwing out a potential trade. Yeah, this was from a fellow by the name of Jake Weinbach. A blockbuster trade idea between the Celtics, Blazers, and Bucks. The Celtics would get Giannis. Blazers would get Jaylen Brown and A.J. Green. Bucks would get Jeremiah Grant, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson. The 27th overall pick in this year's draft via Boston. 2027 first-round picks from Boston and Portland. 2028 first-round pick from Portland. 2029 first-round pick via Portland, Boston, Milwaukee. 2030 first-round pick from Portland. That would be that would be a treat. Not as many picks as I would like for this year's draft, because this draft is pretty good and pretty deep, and it's a very late pick with the 27th overall for this year. But that one I'd be interested in. So again, back to Mark Stein, the quote from him in his latest piece about about Miami and Boston. Quote, I've heard something similar from a few different teams since the Chicago Draft Combine. Miami and Boston are increasingly perceived to be the potential trade destinations that currently most intrigue Giannis. Boston, I mean, Giannis, again, with Boston's head coach, Giannis has talked glowingly about him. And I think what's kind of a thing that you look at with those two franchises? Outside of maybe of a championship roster with Boston, or you look at Miami, because I know a lot of people are probably like, well, Miami's not like a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. I think a common theme that those two teams have, head coach stability. I think that's the biggest thing that maybe Giannis is looking for. All right, let's take a quick break. Plenty more to get to, though. We'll be right back after these quick words. Summer is almost here. It is here, right? Memorial Day weekend. That means it's time to hit the road in something that you love. At Toyson Ford, you will find a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles ready for every adventure. Looking for power? Looking for comfort? How about reliability? Hey, they've got it all backed by a team that's committed to making your car buying experience easy and stress-free. So whether it's a weekend getaway or your daily drive, make sure you're riding in style this summer. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, where your next journey begins. We've got a few texts. Mark says, I'm with you and Surveyor. No socks and sandals. Thank you. We've got Mike that says maybe a little broad, but I'd like to go to the Olympics one day, winter or summer. Wouldn't matter. I think that would be a good one, too, especially with those events where maybe, and I don't know the whole process of it, but I feel like, okay, you get in, you just kind of post up, and you sit back for a few hours and watch a lot of events. I feel like whether it's maybe some of the swimming or some of the track and field or what have you. I'd be game for that. Just kind of sit back in that. We got Rando. I would go to Wimbledon, rugby, and the Kentucky Derby. Well, there you go, Rando. You gotta hook up with Surveyor to go check out a rugby game. So, speaking of Surveyor, you know what grinds my gears? He says all the out-of-towners coming into the small Northwoods towns and trying to change things because they have a, quote, lake house. If you don't like the town because the grocery store doesn't carry your gluten-free potato chips and the local bar doesn't have an obscure tap selection, then don't come. We get it. We live in a gorgeous area and want all to enjoy the beauty that is Western Wisconsin. But if you show up and start complaining about the town or locals, then just go away. Nice. Did you have an experience this weekend, Surveyor, or is that just in general? Is there more to that you need to kind of get off your chest? But I guess one thing from a football standpoint, too, Packers do kick off OTAs today. So we'll get a little bit of a glimpse. I'm sure that we're probably going to hear from some of the coaches and maybe even from some of the players and such. So get ready for the attendance. That's what everybody's going to be kind of following is the attendance. Who's there, who's not there for OTAs. But it's a step in the process, step leading up to training camp and preseason, kind of one of our first glimpses of, and we've seen a little bit here over the past couple weeks and such, but rookies kind of getting in with the veterans and such, and I'm sure for a lot of people they're going to be kind of curious. Is Tucker Kraft going to get anything working? Micah Parsons, kind of some updates on their recovery and such. But yeah, so there you have it. You have a little bit of OTAs coming down your way for the green and gold. So, but we got a couple messages surrounding Giannis. One texter don't have a name, can't give you any cred, but they said they like that trade package between the Bucks, Celtics, and Blazers. Gives them a lot of picks to potentially draft or maybe move to acquire proven talent. Another texter says, I would rather not Giannis play for the Eastern Conference, but I agree you have to get the best package possible if you do trade Giannis, which I still hope the Bucks do not. Another texter says, I think they have to go out there. This is from Ben. I think they have to go out there and get the absolute best deal possible. But I would be lying if I said I hope it's not an Eastern Conference team. I just want this whole process to get over with. Let's get to the draft so we can finally have an answer of what the Bucks are going to be doing. I think we're all kind of in that state too. Maybe not some of the talking heads out there, but I think from a Bucks fan standpoint, we just want some clarity. We want some finality to the situation. Let's get this thing done with. Is he staying? Is he going? If he's staying, great. What are some of the offseason moves now to surround him with talent? Let's focus on that. If he's not going, bummer. Okay. Or if he is going, bummer. Okay. Let's see what the trade package is. Let's see what the draft's like. Are they going to do anything else this offseason? Free agents. We just want this one question answered, and we want to get through it. That's where I'm at. It's where I think a lot of Bucks fans are at this point. Let's just get an answer. Let's get this thing figured out so we can stop talking about it. And we can stop reading about rumors. We can stop reading about what does he mean by this Instagram post. Let's just get the answer so we can move on. And there's going to be two different paths to this thing. It's going to be the path of, all right, how do you surround Giannis with talent then? Or it's going to be the path, how do you replace Giannis? How do we, not only Giannis, but how do you rebuild the whole team? Which path are they going to go down? We want to know. That's where we're at. And there's frustration from a lot of Bucks fans. There's an annoyance from Bucks fans talking about Giannis, talking about this situation. There's an annoyance from non-NBA fans that don't care, but it's just constantly getting talked about. I get it. I understand it. But let's also be real. If the Bucks do decide to move on from Giannis, that is a big moment in Wisconsin sports history. It is a huge moment in Wisconsin sports history if it happens. You are trading arguably the franchise's best player of all time if it were to happen. Now, I wasn't around when the Bucks traded Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a.k.a. Skyhook, whatever we want to call. I wasn't around. I don't know what that was like. But I also know social media wasn't around at that time. So if this does happen for Giannis and the Bucks, it's going to be all over the place. It's going to be blown up all over. And, when Favre got traded, obviously that was a big deal. That was a huge deal. News, kind of a culture shift, just a chapter closing and a new one beginning with Rodgers. The Rodgers one, it was like, okay, it's time. But the difference between some of those, like the Favre one, they got a third-round pick from the Jets. Rodgers one, they ended up getting a second-round pick. Could have been a first. This Giannis one, and a lot of people still, Favre was at the end. Rodgers was at the end. Giannis still has a couple of years left of some really good prime basketball if he can just stay healthy with his knees and such. And I know that's a question mark for a lot of people. But this would be a massive return. Massive, massive return, which is a little bit different than like Rodgers and Favre. I'm trying to come up with some more current examples from a Wisconsin sports perspective, but Rando says, grind my gears. I am with the other texter about the out-of-staters trying to change the towns and also people moving to the country and then complaining about country smells. Like when they are preparing the fields, like that smell. Is that what? That time of year when you're driving by, we were playing ball last week. The kids are like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's Wisconsin, baby. Getting the fields planted, primed up, and ready to go." All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up here. We got Harrison on the mound tonight. So we'll talk a little bit about Kyle Harrison. So we got that. And Logan Henderson. Update on him. We may not see him tomorrow. He's scheduled to start the game tomorrow, but we may not see him. Dealing with a little bit of a back issue. But at least the Brewers have some depth with starting pitching. They did send down Robert Gasser. But maybe we'll get another Coleman Crow. I'd have to see where he last started with with Nashville and such. So, all right, we'll switch gears and we'll talk some baseball coming up after these few words. Sunshine, road trips, and summer adventures are calling. Is your vehicle ready? At AGM Automotive in Eau Claire, they will make sure that you hit the road with confidence. From AC checks and oil changes to brakes and full inspections, AGM Automotive has you covered before the heat kicks in. With 2 convenient Eau Claire locations, expert service is always just around the corner. So don't let car trouble slow down your summer plans. Schedule your appointment today by visiting ajmautomotiveservices.com. AJM Automotive, keeping you cool, safe, and road trip ready all summer long. Maybe you're going to be road tripping to a Brewers game, and maybe you're going to be seeing the Miz Kid or tonight's starter, Mr. Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison, so far, Mizorowski has set a very, very, very high bar for his performance in the month of May, but Kyle Harrison is right behind him, too. In 4 games started, Harrison is 3-0 with a 1.23 ERA. His lone no decision was that May 9th game against the Yankees, where he went 4 innings, giving up 2 earned runs. 6 strikeouts in that performance, though, too. But nonetheless, just a fantastic start to his season with the Brewers this year, and he's having a fantastic month of May with that 3-0 record and a 1.23 ERA. So we'll see if he can, I know was it a couple games ago, a couple weeks ago, he was kind of asked, hey, how do you feel about following up Mizorowski? How do you follow up what Mizorowski does? And Mizorowski's been pitching at a very high level, but I don't know, it just maybe sets that bar high, something to reach for a guy like Kyle Harris. Is like, all right, that's the expectation. That's what we got to do. We got to set that bar high. Performance-wise, we got to go out there. We got to make sure we are dialed in. That guy's doing it day in and day out. It's up to the rest of us. It's up to me to kind of reach that mark too, to hit that mark. Of all the trades this offseason, this prior offseason that Matt Arnold and this Brewers staff or Brewers front office did, the Kyle Harrison, getting him is just, to me, has got to be the best move. Maybe one of the best of all offseason across Major League Baseball, if not the best one. All right, crystal clear in Centerville, says Surveyor. Shout out Centerville. We got anybody else listening down in Centerville? But anyways, back to Brewers and such. When we go back to our preseason predictions, Brandon and I, we did a lot of, predictions and different areas of the Brewer season. And one of them was, which new pitcher, which newcomer are you most excited? Which newcomer do you think is going to be up there? And my pick was Kyle Harrison, but Kyle Harrison is blowing the door off the expectations I had this year. He's pitching even better than I thought he was going to. Now, a lot of season left. It could change. You hope not. You hope he continues to pitch at a high level. But right now, given what we have seen currently, dude's been awesome. And if Mizorowski wasn't pitching at a Cy Young level, we'd be talking about Kyle Harrison maybe being, for this year, if we had to power rank the starting pitchers for the Brewers, maybe he'd be the number one. Just on a current power ranking structure. But Mizorowski, with the way he's going about things, he's clearly the top pitcher and maybe top pitcher in the league. Cy Young odds way early to be talking about, to kind of maybe be looking at these. But I have to. I got to look at it to see where Mizorowski is on this list here. Okay, third best. This is according to Sportsbook on FanDuel. Christopher Sanchez has the best at a plus 210, or actually second best, excuse me. Christopher Sanchez plus 210, Mizorowski is plus 320. Then it's Paul Skeens at a plus 440, Chris Sale plus 650. All right. Yeah, I mean, Sanchez is having a fantastic season too. When you look at what Christopher Sanchez is doing so far, he's 5-2. He's got a 1.62 ERA. He's 86 Ks on there too. So yeah, I can't argue too much about Sanchez getting again. It's incredibly early, but they got the same record at 5-2. Sanchez third in ERA, 1.62. Mizorowski fourth in ERA at 1.83. No question, 100 Ks for Mizorowski. He's tops in Major League Baseball, and he's got the second best whip at a .83. That's where Sanchez is a little bit far behind, 1.15, which is 35th in Major League Baseball. Let me go through some of the other numbers here for Mizorowski. Let me come on. I want to bring this up. Let's go. Here we go. All right, Ashby's still up there in wins, but who's the next closest in Ks here? So Mizorowski's got 100. Dylan Cease is next at 62. Whip. Who's got a better whip than Mizorowski right now? Paul Skeens, but not by much. 0.82. So Mizorowski's at a 0.83. Paul Skeens has a 0.82. He is just skosh off of having Major League Baseball's number one ranked whip. He's first in strikeouts. He is fourth in ERA, and just kind of looking at the guys ahead of him. Cam's up there from the Yankees, Nick Martinez, and then Christopher Sanchez. Cam's got a 1.50. I mean, that's legit. But, yeah, easily in the Cy Young conversation as we are halfway, maybe not quite halfway. We're about 31% way through the season. I was going to say halfway through the second quarter, but right now I would say it's between Sanchez and Mizorowski as the best starting pitchers in the National League. If we were to, again, kind of do a weekly power ranking at this point. Speaking of power rankings, once in a while I always kind of just look at it, see where the gauge is. They're not the be-all, tell-all. But MLB.com, Braves, Rays, Dodgers, Brewers. And then the Yankees rounding out the top five. This was before the Cardinals game. The Brewers were feeling on top of the world after beating the Dodgers, of course, the team that knocked them out in the NLCS last year on Friday night. Their 12th win of their previous 14 games. But then the Dodgers reasserted their dominance, outscoring the Brewers at 16-4 in the next two games and leaving Milwaukee frustrated, and knowing what their measuring stick is once again. Again, this was before the Cardinals win from yesterday. But did we learn? Let's go back to that Dodgers series, okay? Was there anything from that Dodgers series out besides losing the series? Was that a series that showed you, or you believe gave you plenty of examples like why this Brewers team will not go to the World Series? And I guess what I'm trying to say is, did this series against the Dodgers show you like, yep, this is why they need more offense? They're scoring a lot of runs, but they need more power. Is that what you take away from that series against the Dodgers? If we use that as a measuring stick, take away the loss, because that's obviously the easy answer. But what from that series showed you, or in your opinion, showed you what's going to keep the Brewers away from going to the World Series, getting past the Dodgers? Is it straight up they don't have enough power? So when they get into those type of games where, you know, they got to score a bunch of runs, they don't have that type of offense to do so? Or do you chalk it up mostly because, well, they didn't have their top three pitchers out there? They didn't have Mizorowski. They didn't have Harrison. They didn't have Logan Henderson. Brandon Woodruff still is hurt. So do you give it a little bit of a pass because they threw out, you know, Robert Gasser? They threw out Brandon Sproats. I guess they did throw Logan Henderson in game one, and, you know, they won that game. So what do you take away if we use that Dodgers series about any, you know, prospects about this Brewers team going to World Series? You know what I'm trying to say? Or is it like, no, if Miz pitches, it's different. If Harrison pitches, it's different. Or do you still feel like that's the reason why this team still needs a power bat? That series is the reason we need somebody else at third base. Or you just, it's baseball and it's May and not a whole lot to take from. All right, let's take a quick break as we start to wrap up the second hour. We'll be back after these quick words. Dings, dents, or something more serious? Don't stress about it. Just head to Superior Auto Body. From minor touch-ups to major collision repair, they are your go-to team for getting your vehicle back to looking like new. With experienced technicians and attention to every detail, Superior Auto Body takes pride in doing the job right the first time. So when life happens to your vehicle, trust the team that Eau Claire drivers rely on. Superior Auto Body, your go-to place for all of your auto body needs. Coming up in about, let's say, 15, 20 minutes or so, well, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk a little college sports with Mr. R.J. Cardinal. talk a little bit about potential expansion in the college football playoff and that. So we'll hit that up because it sounds like the Big Ten is really pushing for that. But we'll talk some college sports with RJ. Speaking of college, shout out to the Blue Golds outdoor track and field national championships. Men's team finishing team-wise 5th, and the women's team finishing in 7th. So congrats to the UW Eau Claire Blue Gold men's and women's track and field teams at the outdoor national championships. We've got Eau Claire Express game number 2 tonight, taking on the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders. It's Midwest Family Broadcasting Night. They're going to be handing out some of the magnet schedules and such. So first pitch for tonight's game, 7:05 at Carson Park before the Express hit the road for a few days with a stop at Rochester for a couple games, Thunder Bay, and then they'll be back in town on Sunday taking on Thunder Bay. So, but the Express last night starting their season, close game, high-scoring game right away, 9-8 loss to Fond du Lac. So what else do we got on the docket here? We've got Ben saying, I think if anything from that Dodger series just proves again that the Brewers need a little bit more power when it comes to the playoffs. This has been an issue for this team for the last few years. They need one more power bat for me to feel confident that this is a team that can go to the World Series. Dave says, besides losing a series, which I thought they were going to against the Dodgers, I'm trying not to put a whole lot in there because the Brewers didn't throw out their best horses. But I think it does prove that even though they are scoring some runs this year, they need another bat to put in the middle of that lineup to be a power threat. Hopefully with Yelich now back in the lineup and collecting a couple of home runs, maybe he can be that guy. And then we've got Charles that says the Brewers swept the Dodgers last year in the regular season, lost in the playoffs to better pitching, hitting at that point. It's baseball. If you get hit hot at the right time, you can beat anybody. Get to the playoffs and hope that you get hot. Is that kind of where it's, I mean, yeah, hear a lot of people say that. Momentum. I know some people aren't believers in momentum, which I get it. It's not the be-all, tell-all stat when it comes to sports or be-all, tell-all indicator. But I'm a huge believer in momentum. Huge. I mean, there's so many examples of riding that wave, riding that momentum to going to a championship game or winning a championship. Doesn't happen all the time. But I think it's a crucial factor. Crucial factor. Rando says, I love the Brewers. I love the Brewers team as it is, but would love another hitter. Keep your thoughts coming. All right, you can text us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or you can join in on the Section 105 chat room. Don't forget, it is a Toyson Ford, a Grind My Gears Tuesday. So what's grinding your gears? All right, send them on over. We'll do a little sports confession. What do you got to confess? What's some of your sports sins or sports confessions that you want to throw out there? Okay. Also, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'll do my I'm not saying, but I'm just saying coming up just past the 8 o'clock hour. But I'm not saying blank. I'm just saying blank. Throw it over there. Want to hear what you got. Okay. Text it or send it on the video stream chat. Plenty more Brewers talk coming up as we approach halftime here, too, as we get set for Game 2 of this series against the Cardinals. I want to get back to a little bit more Jacob Misiorowski talk because, again, what we're witnessing here is pretty fantastic. And hopefully as Brewers fans, we get to watch it for a long time. And hopefully at this level, maybe even just a skosh better. But this is another kind of nugget on the run that Misiorowski is currently at. He has gone more than a month without allowing an extra base hit. He's faced 138 batters in that span and struck out 57 6 of them. He's one of only 3 pitchers in the last century, and the first since Bob Welch in 1980 to go 6 straight starts of 5 or more innings pitched and no extra base hits. That's from Kurt Hogg from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And you want to know the fastest pitches ever thrown by a starting pitcher? Well, Mizorowski has the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spots. And then it's Jordan Hicks. And then Mizorowski for a few more. Unreal. He is ridiculous. 57 pitches over 100 miles per hour in his game yesterday. Most in the pitch tracking era. As we mentioned, he's already got 100 Ks in just 64 innings pitched. Man. All right, shot clock's going to cut us off, and we are going to be at halftime here. So send us your Toys to Ford Grind My Gears Tuesdays, your sports confessions, your I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. All right, we're going to talk with RJ coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll switch gears and talk some college sports with him. Maybe throw a little Badger chat in there, too. I know it's kind of the downtime, off time for a lot of Badger sports and such, but we'll throw a little bit in there as part of our discussion. So, and yeah, plenty more Brewers talk as we get set for Game 2 against the Cardinals tonight, where the Brewers will be looking to at least secure a series win against the Redbirds, a big series against a division rival and a team that's currently in second place, just 2.5 games behind the Brewers in the standings. So lots of Brewers talk still coming your way here this morning. Shot clock's going to cut us off here. We've got some news updates, and we will be back to kick off the third hour after these